They're open to anybody know Brooklyn. I've been asked by a number of people if they live on the other side of Broadview, can they come? Normally the answer is yes, there's not much that's going to be relevant to only people that live in Ward 13. Hey, Commissioner.
How you doing?
Director, wait, I'm sorry.
It's all right.
I'm terrible at hierarchy. There aren't many subjects that only matter to Ward 13, so general, Old Brooklyn Center, come on down. And this month we're talking about the recycling program, which is back. And Mr. Brumfeld here, Brumfield, my bad. Mr. Brumfield is in charge of the recycling program for the entire city of Cleveland. You can't get a more expert. We cover a different subject every month, and this month is recycling. I will hang out after he's done to talk about any other ward issues that come up. If you have questions or concerns about your street or a pothole or a street light or a neighbor or something like that, I'm here to talk about all that, but I'm going to let him do his thing first, and we'll save the other individual concerns till after his presentation. And yeah, that's all. Okay? Cool.
What kind of special? I didn't know I was going to be the only one tonight.
Oh, I try not to bog it down too much. You get the audience.
All right, so my name is Bren Brumfield. I am recycling coordinator for Cleveland, and recycling is coming back. We have a date. We're going to start the program formally on the 13th of June. So the 13th of June. We have our company in line right now. We're ready to do all that stuff, but we want to make sure we give people an extra chance to understand what the recycling program is and to get people signed in for the recycling program and signed up for it. So the recycling is going to remain a weekly service. We talked last year about making it every other week, right? So you'd have to figure out what the schedule is and when is that recycling week. But now what's going to happen is it's going to happen every week. So essentially, there's no change. You put it out every week when you put your trash out, and recycling will get picked up at that time. Now you're going to have City of Cleveland crews and trucks remaining the people that pick up that stuff at your house. There's a lot of people here that we have this company, so they're looking for a different company, a different set of people to be coming to pick up their recycling. It's still going to be us. So the company actually comes in on the back. So City of Cleveland's going to pick up everything you have. We're going to take it to our transfer station. That company's going to pick it up from us to go and process it and do all that. So that's kind of where we were lacking before. So people were like, well, why are the trucks picking up the trash and recycling at the same time? Is because we did not have a company on the back end to take it away from us, so it was all going to end up at the same place. So it was just a little more economical, a little more, it was just an easier thing to do it that way. But that's all going away because we're going to recycle for real now, right? That's why you have your books, your lists. We're going to talk about exactly what is recyclable. Everything I have up here is examples of things that fit every one of those categories that you'll see in that book for what is recyclable. All right, so. And if you guys ever had any issues with group service or with your cards being on debt, you would call the city, contact us, right? You can contact 311 and they'll make a ticket, we'll take care of whatever that issue is. Now, this new program that we have, it's opt-in is what we call it. Basically what that means is you have to enroll in it to be a part of that program. And the reason for that is just because of what we had 2 years ago, all the problems we had with the contamination and people putting just all kinds of trash in the recycling can. We want to make sure that everybody that enters into the program right now, everybody that's recycling, is doing it voluntarily and doing it because they want to recycle those right things, the things that are on that list. So that's why we're asking you to let us know you want to be in on that. So it's just a voluntary thing and everybody's doing it willingly and going to do it right. So all that being said, there are roughly 27,000 out of the 100 potential 150,000 households in Cleveland signed up for this program. This is part of the reason why, even though we have that company lined up now, we're not going to start until June. We want to promote the program and we want to let people know it's really here. We have an actual date for it to start and to give people the opportunity to learn about the program and to join in. Right? And then we'll start it formally in June. And because we want to get all those other people in here, what we're going to do is run that enrollment period from May 2nd, last week, until the 31st of July. So it's going to go all summer long. We're going to give everybody every chance to get in this program. And then at the end of that period, after July, then those people that have not signed up for recycling won't be able to keep that blue can because they've chosen not to recycle, we'll take those cans from them and use them just to kind of supplement or be backup for the rest of the program. But what I want to do is we're giving people 3 months. We're going to be, on the news, in your face, everywhere, on the radio, in the newspaper, trying to say, look, we have recycling, please sign up for recycling, here's how it works. So after all that time, that's what's going to happen with that. All right, so what we really want to do is encourage everyone to do that recycling. Reduce your landfill waste. You're gonna be doing good things for the planet. Reducing waste, reducing pollution, all that. But mainly, what you're gonna notice if you don't recycle is that all that stuff, the plastic bottles, the metal cans, the paper, the cardboard boxes, those things gonna fill up that one can you have. If all you have is that one black can. And if you only had this one can and you could put all those things, the blue one, you would be in a much better position. So I want to encourage people to do it the right way. That way they will keep that capacity to do what they need to do. All right, now, and I know that some of you have gotten your packets already. Do some of you live in duplexes or multi-unit homes?
Yeah, I live right
Okay, so one thing I noticed is that I've gotten some calls in the last few days. Some people have gotten their packets that are in those multi-unit homes that somehow, if it was a duplex, there was only 1 cent. If it was bigger than that, there was only 1 cent. So if there's any issues like that, let us know. Call 311, let them know if you don't receive your packet. And I know that's an issue, we'll send one out again, just to make sure everybody's good. And to talk about that packet, when you get that, it has this thing that you have right here. All right, so that's a book that just tell you some of the guidelines for the program, what is recyclable in the program, a little bit about what you shouldn't put in there is on there, right? And then on the back we have a diagram of where your stickers go. Now I've had several calls too where people say, well, okay, I have this white bumper sticker looking thing, but I don't see a red or a yellow sticker. There are no red or yellow stickers. This was just a way to symbolize the different ones and where they go in your can. So the yellow just kind of stood for this. It's outlined in yellow on there. That's this one. This goes on each side of the can, all right? The small sticker. And they do peel. Sometimes you got to fiddle with the corner to make them work, but it'll peel off, right? This one right here, the accepted material sticker, this is the one that goes on the lid of the can. It's the little red, that little dark, right?
The outside of the lid, right?
The outside of the lid. So basically the idea is whenever you go up to that can and you're gonna go put something in, what you're gonna do is you're gonna encounter this first. You're gonna see this to remind you, yeah, should you put that in or should you put, should it go in the trash can, right? So that's the purpose behind that. And we wanted to make sure there were reminders because I feel like up in the program the way we had it before, you got talked to a long time ago and then there was a big gap where there was not much communication. So you'll actually get a lot more communication from us. The city's never actually had anyone in a position to be over recycling and to be communicating with the public on that. So that's what I do. So I will definitely be available. There's some contact numbers on the back. There's an email and contact number. If you guys have any issues or if you have any questions, you can call that number, or better yet, you can email that recycling@clevelandohio.gov, and we check that every day and we respond to that. Usually I do. So if you guys just random questions, send me a picture. Can I recycle this? I'll say yes or no. Now, a couple things that I'll tell you about our recycling now, right? With this new company, and the reason we got the new company, it's Rumpke is that company. Is that one of the most innovative in the country, actually, recycling companies, and definitely in the state. So they have processes now that can handle a lot of materials that our old recycler and any of the other recyclers here in the state, they can't handle. Those other recyclers can't handle it. So things like these plastic tubs, this is something that would have been considered contamination under the old system we had and not recycled. So this is something we can do right now. This cup like this McDonald's cup. I know you've heard for many years that these paper cups and these plastic cups are not recyclable because there was no way to process them. But now, this company that we're using does have a way to process them. These go back in, they go with this kind of plastic, become other plastics. These get used to make cardboard boxes. So there's uses for that. Something else that the other companies didn't take before that people always thought was recyclable is these things. These cartons like this, right? So these 4 things right up front here, they would have been considered contamination in the past, and when you hear about the issues we had before, where they said, well, Cleveland's recycling is so contaminated, they're not recycling right, all that, the contamination was really these things. A lot of people think it's, well, my can's stretched up, it's old, it's dirty, that's where the contamination comes from. Maybe I didn't wash it long enough. It's not that. So if the things that you put in are at least empty, right? With drinks and such, pour them out till they're empty. If you have a cap, put it back on. That's good enough. If you can give something quick rinse, that is good too. I like it. You don't want to put food in there because that's going to attract, rodents and pests to your house. You don't want that. But this right here, this is not contamination. This is all good now. So what we need to do is look at that book and things that are acceptable for recycling and just understand that, because that is all that we want to have in that little bin. And I know some people are saying, well, what about when you take metal cans and aluminum cans, what about aluminum pie pans? What about aluminum trays? What about this, that, and the other? A lot of it has to do with the way that things get separated at the plant. Because we have this convenience of putting everything in one bin now. I know some of you probably remember the days of, glass goes here and aluminum goes there and paper goes there, right? So now that we have the convenience of putting everything all in one big thing, all right? They put that all in one truck, and then they dump all that out as one big mixed load. Well, what happens is there's processes that they dump all this into that then separate all these things into their separate types of components. So all those machines, they use magnets, they use optical cords, they use things that work by the weight, they use some stuff that just does it by size. So when they do that, there are certain things that just don't process, that don't get seen, that are hard for it to separate. So that's why some of them, even though you think they are recyclable or they're made out of the same thing as something else, they're still not able to be processed. So that's the reason for that. So for that, what we want to do is make sure that you look at your book, that you see this on top of your can, that you know these are the things that can be recycled in Cleveland's system right now. All right? So, let's see. I think that's like the gist, that's the intro here. So I'll take questions because that seems to be where a lot of the stuff happens right now. Yes, ma'am.
The biggest thing we argue about, pizza boxes.
Pizza boxes. The biggest thing you need to worry about, right? Cardboard is recyclable, but greasy cardboard or wet cardboard is not recyclable. So if you're really hardcore and you want to recycle it and it's got that stain on the bottom from pizza sitting on it, you can cut it in half and put the clean part in, or you can just put it in the trash. But with the pizza boxes, the main thing is recycling. In fact, that's with most food containers. So, like paper plates. People go, well, it's paper, can't I put it in? No, because now you've had food on it, so it's stained up with the food. So that's the issue, it's about the grease and such.
I got a question.
Yes, ma'am.
I heard this on the news a couple times that Cleveland is not, we've been filling our recycling bins up and it's getting thrown into the dump.
Yes.
Is it really getting, have they ever changed anything since last year? I mean, is it actually getting recycled now?
It's gonna start getting recycled on the 13th of June. That's when the new company formally will start doing everything. So the issue is that back in 2020, we lost the company on the back end that actually took what we picked up from you and processed. So in all this time, over this 2 years, they've been trying to get another company to fill that gap. We've been trying to do
It's
that.
taken 2 years to do that.
It has.
Wow, it's a
I know,
long-
it's a long time. I can tell you, I've worked with the city since October. But since October, we have made this happen.
I can tell you just that I'm aware of the fact that the global recycling market collapsed. There's a market for recycling. People buy our waste, right, and they recycle it and they do whatever they do with it on the tail end. But that market collapsed and those companies stopped buying our recyclables. So that was a big problem for the planet.
Yeah, one of the biggest buyers were China, and China just said they don't want it no more.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, part of it had to do with China. China had a rule that came out, I think it was like 2018 or 19. It was called like Green Sword, China Sword, this thing. So what they did was they had a percentage of contamination that they said was okay. They would, throw it away, do whatever on the back end. But we were sending so much stuff that was not able to be processed that they said, okay, you go from like 5% contamination is okay to 0.05 is okay. So then what was happening is a lot of American companies were getting fined, or they were sending a big container ship all the way over to China just to get it sent all the way back at their expense because it couldn't be processed. So that was one of the issues, but for us, it was a matter of if we lost the company, and there was nowhere to put that stuff.
Are you familiar with the story on the east side with, in the Commonwealth area, like Green Road? There's all this garbage dumped by these people's houses. What's going on with that?
That I don't know. Commissioner Pruitt might be able to tell you more because, and he walked out.
Yeah, that has nothing to do with the city's waste collection. That's a totally separate issue. It's a screwed up situation, but that's not waste collection.
Dumping is separate from the division of waste. Now, it's public works. I believe it's either parks or streets that might handle that.
That company is getting sued by everybody under the sun, and there's a big environmental cleanup going on out there. They actually dedicate money to it. It was a contract. Long story. I can tell you about it. It's not the waste collection department.
I didn't know. Yeah,
Sorry?
but your general dumping, yeah, it's not, they're not gonna send a trash truck. Dumping, it'll be
Yeah, that goes back many years even. That did not start off as a big pile. They illegally dumped for many years and it was hidden away. I'll tell you about one.
I got two questions. Can you get a secondary black can? I always kind of wondered that. Can you get another black can?
The answer right now is no. In the past, you could. The answer now is no.
Should have did it in the past.
There's with supply lines and supply chain issues, we're real tight. In fact, we have a shipment coming, and I think we're gonna be, we're gonna get a shipment of this many, but we need about this many.
Yeah.
Right now, so.
Second question is, are they still, I know a lot of people are apprehensive on signing up because before they're afraid to get fined and everything else. So are they still gonna be going through your trash, breaking fines?
No, not like that. So what's gonna happen is we're gonna try not to cite people.
I mean, obviously you can't
We're
take
gonna
kids
try
that
to
are
educate
recyclable, but.
We're gonna try to educate people on what's going on, put a sticker on your bin and say, hey, just to remind you, this is what needs to be recycled, this is what is not recycled. That happens a few times, then maybe they'll say, well, maybe we need to take this can away, we'll have to talk about that with that person. Now, if there are, big pieces of lumber, trash, giant things in that can every time,
Common sense
then you
stuff.
kind of run the risk of getting cited. But if it's like, well, okay, well, I put this in and it wasn't recyclable, or I put in a chip bag or something like that, we're not gonna go through and go, well, you had two things that were wrong, so you get fined.
I guess I have one more question. If you opt in, let's say in a year you just find out it's not for you, can you opt out?
No, but all you have to do, there's no formal process for opting out. But the thing is, if you've opted in, all you've said is, okay, I'm gonna put this can out when I think it's ready, and it's got these stickers, you'll pick it up. That's the agreement we're all making. But if you decide you don't want to put it out, we're not gonna say, hey, you didn't put that out today, you're in trouble.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. If you decide you don't want to recycle, if you don't have enough, if you are confused, you can ask questions, and I will tell you the answers. You can call me directly, you email me at that email on the back. We'll talk about it. But no, there's no fine for not recycling if you decide not to.
Can I ask you a question?
Actually,
That's correct, not correct.
Is it illegal for residents to garbage pick in people's garbage and a recycling bin, and they don't get in trouble? Isn't that the landlord's responsibility to stop people from ripping open garbage bags and going through their personal information?
I would think you could.
Wow,
but I don't know.
that's a fascinating question because I know people go garbage picking for a lot of different reasons, right? Some people are out recycling and they're trying to grab things that they can take over to the recyclers if they see metal objects. And in some respects, if somebody throws out a filing cabinet for bulk pickup week.
I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about ripping open bags and digging through their garbage, not stuff on the side of the road. I'm familiar with garbage picking.
Okay.
I'm talking about going in dumpsters, picking bags out and ripping them open. I mean, is that?
So if what they're doing results in trash on the street, that'd be littering and that would be illegal.
I'm talking about in a dumpster. Going into a dumpster,
Well,
pulling out bags.
not in your personal one, but in a dumpster.
And
Yeah.
residents' homes
Yeah.
that have dumpsters, they go in the dumpster, they pull out bags and they start ripping through the trash. Is that okay?
I'm gonna preface this by saying I am not a lawyer, but if all the garbage remains inside the dumpster, I doubt they would be guilty of littering, but they could be guilty of trespassing.
if they live in a place and they pull the
It's
garbage.
real specific here, okay.
If they live in a place, they pull out the garbage out of the dumpster, put it on the ground, start ripping open the bank and digging through the garbage.
Sounds like littering.
Are
But
they
I would
allowed to
say,
dig
I would
through
say you
that?
have to talk to law.
Yeah.
Because that's
Well,
not-
sounds
that's
like-
not-
we should talk afterwards. It sounds like you got something more involved than just the recycling program.
Generalized question.
Sure.
So it's a generalized question, are they allowed to literally rip open your garbage and dig through all your information to look for some piece of garbage they're looking for?
They're not allowed to take your personal information. They're not allowed to take your cell phone bill, your telephone bill.
Yeah, I think that would be
That gets
some-
kind of get malicious.
I mean, it sounds like you've got a very hyper personal issue that maybe we can talk about.
This is not my problem. I'm saying, I watch people do this.
Oh.
I watch people go in there, garbage dumpster, like I said, took out the bag, ripped
Dumpster
through
or
the
the
whole
trash,
bag,
the big-
pull out of the big old dumpster, put it on
Yeah,
the
I
ground.
mean, it sounds like littering.
And ask them.
Call the police, okay.
Yeah, I would call the police if you think that there's criminal activity taking place. That's
Is that a
general.
police issue though?
It's not waste, it's not a quadruple waste.
It's not. Yeah, it's not waste collection.
So it would have to be that.
Yeah.
If you're asking a legal question, it has to be a question.
Okay, I didn't know that was a legal question.
Yeah. Let's talk about it after. It sounds. There's something.
There was all, that's all there was to it.
I'm offering. I'm extending an invitation to talk about
The
it.
city thinks that's okay to do.
I just was asking about like, you know, paper towel rolls or the tissue rolls. Okay, so that.
Recycle. Yes, ma'am.
So it's a lot broader range
They're
of
just
recyclables.
cardboard.
Styrofoam?
Styrofoam is not.
Not.
And now, it's not recyclable. And I'll give you a little bit of the why on the styrofoam. Styrofoam is really, really light, right? So styrofoam it's the same thing. Oh no, we won't talk about it. Styrofoam is really, really light. And everything that is here, all the recyclables, are actually collected and sold on the market on the back end by the ton. So, you know, you could not get enough styrofoam. You know, it is a market, like I said, there's a market where people buy recyclables. So if they don't buy it, there's just no market for it. And another interesting thing is that cities don't really make money on recycling. So it's not that the city is gonna make money off recycling. The city pays the company to take it, the company does all their processing, they'll sell it to manufacturers on the back end and use it to make stuff. You know, most of the city might get is a little bit of a discount if we're doing really, really well. But cities pay because we recycle because it's the right thing, not because it's the money making business. And you have a
Okay,
question?
2 questions. I see you have a Tide bottle there, liquid, that's recyclable. What about the pods?
The pods themselves, no. The thing that the pods come in is plastic. So
That's what I
once you
mean, the
open it up, dump it out, you know, when it's empty,
Yeah.
it's
Is that
recyclable. It's just a plastic
recyclable?
bottle.
Okay,
Yep,
that's
it's a
number
plastic.
1. Number 2, can I put my recyclables in a garbage bag? And no, it's gotta be, okay.
It's gotta be loose. Now, one thing that we do in my house is we have a secondary can in the
Right,
kitchen.
that's what I have.
And we have a bag in that one. So what we do is we put the stuff in that can with the bag, and when that can is full, we take it and dump that one out
Into
in the
the
one
garbage.
outside, so that all the stuff is loose. But we didn't have, you know, if there were any kind of
Right.
wine and beer, not that we do all that stuff.
Oh,
If there's anything like that
You
in that
didn't say
bag.
detergent, which is what she brought up.
So if there's
Right.
something that spills out, it doesn't make our can all nasty and stinky.
But like
When that-
Downy liquid, I rinse it out and that'll be recyclable
That's
too.
fine. That's fine. And like I said, with that rinse, it's not like you gotta scrub it and do all that.
Right.
Just put a little water and shake it
Right.
around, pour it out, and drop it in.
But I cannot keep it in the plastic bag to recycle.
No, ma'am, it should not go in the blue bin in the plastic bag.
What about like a paper bag? So sometimes you know when you go to Walgreens or something, they give you your stuff back in a big old paper bag. I stick that next to my trash can in the house and I put my water bottles inside of there. Can that paper bag go into the recycle?
Yes, big bags are like, paper bags. They are recyclable, so you're just dropping more recyclable stuff in there, that's okay. That's okay. Yes, ma'am.
About like berry containers?
Not yet. So berry containers, are you talking about the thin open ones or the clamshells?
Either one.
Alright, so clamshell, either one of those is not recyclable right now. But one of the reasons that I chose the company that we're gonna use is that they're, like I said, they're one of the most innovative. So they are right now building a big plant near Columbus that'll be able to take those clamshells. And that's a big thing that a lot of people get, what kind of things you get sandwiches, salads, you know, different berries, different things in. those things are made out of the same plastic as this, if you were to go by the numbers. But we don't go by numbers, don't go by numbers anymore, go by the list that we have, right? So they're made out of the same kind of thing with a different shape, and like I said, everything is automated, how they get separated, so it has to look a certain way, be a certain way. You know, a lot of them even ask you not to crush cans or bottles or all that, you just leave them whole and intact, because that way it makes it easier for it to be processed through the machine. I wish I had a good video of it. We're actually going to go and take a tour of this vendor's facility. And the idea is that we're going to get TV20 to go with us and take pictures and then have it on the news or have it on TV20 or somehow show you guys, here's what happens with your actual stuff that you put in your bin. That way you can see how all this stuff gets processed. And it makes so much more sense once you see that stuff going on. Like with plastic bags. Everybody asks about plastic bags. One of the first things that it goes through when the recycle gets in there is this thing with a bunch of wheels that's just kind of going like this. And the cardboard slides over the top, little things fall through, cans just keep going. But if you have plastic bags in there, they're gonna wrap around. Exactly. And if you have, you know, like some people will look at an extension cord and go, well, that's just copper wire. Copper's recyclable. Not in the blue bin, because then it's going to tangle up around everything and cause a lot of problems. Or things like, you know, I have like what do I have? Something like this, right? People would look at something like this and go, well, what is this made of? It's metal and it's plastic. Metal's recyclable, plastic's recyclable, so can't I just throw this whole thing in? No. No. Or even like a Pringles can.
Right.
Pringles can, you got a plastic top, a metal bottom, a metal ring, and a cardboard tube. All these things on their own are recyclable, but there's nothing in that plant that's gonna disassemble something and put it all in separate piles. So what you recycle needs to be made out of that, you know, one thing. You got a couple exceptions, something like this. It's paper, it's got this tiny bit of plastic on it, but there's a process that they use, I don't know exactly what it is, that separates it so they'll be able to take care of it. For the most part, if something is like a combination of things like this, then it should go in that way.
However, what if something like that, they took that lid off and then put them in separately?
I would say no on this because it's vacuum sealed, so it's got some other stuff that's going to.
Exactly, but you know.
What would you say as an example?
I thought like busted up on the grain, but it's all plastic.
What is it?
No, but there's metal.
Pepper
It's
grain.
all plastic, even the grain.
That one I don't know. I would say no.
Okay.
I would say no because it's just made of all those little parts.
What about the egg containers that are plastic like that cup?
No, because those would be just like the clam shells.
Clamshell.
So when clam shells are accepted, then that's when something like that can go. But as far as egg cartons, just these paper ones right there. Yes, sir.
You may have covered this as a few minutes late, wax cartons, like milk, wax lining cartons.
Yeah, like these kind of things. So your juice boxes, milk, gravy.
Okay, the plastic, pots you get for the plants, like rigid.
No, they're not. They're not. And that was actually, I just sent an email to sustainability because they do like social media posts and all that. So, you know, it's spring, everybody's gonna get out in the garden right now. So your plant pots, your flats, the bags that you would get your soil or anything in, those plastic bags, those all
Not
don't
bags,
get
exactly, but pots themselves.
They don't. So then what you could do with some of those, some garden centers take them back so they can reuse them. But there's none that are, there's none that can go in your regular recycling.
And again, you may have covered this. As far as cleaning labels off, labels on, how, you know, peanut butter, jelly, I mean, you gotta wash it through the dishwasher.
Peanut butter and mayonnaise are like the worst thing as far as cleaning. So those probably take the most like rinsing out. But all I do, and I was saying earlier, I would like if it were something like this, if this was a peanut butter jar, I'd put like, you know, that much water in, put the top on, and shake it up a little bit, dump it out. Then I'll look at it and I'm like, okay, looks reasonably clean. That's okay. Right? So some people think, yeah, they have to put it in the dishwasher or they need to scrub it out and do all that. You don't have to do that much. Yes, sir.
Kind of over time that I think you kind of mentioned already. So it's okay to, those things like the peanut butter mayonnaise containers specifically, you can put the lid back on those?
Yes. In fact, you should. If you have something that has a lid you can screw back on, right? then screw that lid back on too. But if you think about like a beer bottle or a juice cap where you pry it off, you can't put that back on. You can't put that back on, so then that lid would go in the trash. And the issue is because, like I was telling you about the machinery that processes everything, once that all goes in, those little small things are going straight through to the trash. So they just don't even want you to put them in the first place. Alright, so if you have a lid that can screw on, screw it back on.
I got a question. What is the law on dumpsters and recycling bins to have a lid on?
I don't know if there is
Is there
a,
a law that requires them to have a lid?
I don't believe there is a law that says they have to. And by dumpsters, and when we talk about a dumpster, I think about the big rectangular things that get carried on the big truck and they just don't open up. There is a lid.
No, there's lids. I was told that every dumpster has to have a law, has to have a lid on it, and that's required, the city of Cleveland provides those. That's untrue?
That's not,
Oh, okay, good. I just don't know.
that's not it. You're talking about a dumpster. You're talking about a,
He's talking about like a 40-foot long thing, not something that a front loader picks up in an apartment building.
Okay, I'm talking about an apartment building.
She's talking about a dumpster on wheels, the same question,
Yeah,
I think, the same
big,
issue.
huge, big dumpsters.
Yeah.
Like you put several in the
yeah,
apartment.
well.
A truck picks it up,
It's
things like
to
this.
keep the
So
cheap
they
stuff
have to have,
out and
do
over
they have
there.
to have lids on them?
That's a legal question, I don't know. I don't know.
How about,
I'm no
you're not
recycling guy.
familiar with the, recycling? I was told recycling has to have them too.
I'm not familiar with laws on whether or not there's stops on dumpsters. Now, I know
Well,
that
now
it's
you know,
practical.
there is, I was told there is. Unless
It's
I'm wrong.
practical and good to have a lid on it because that's gonna keep odor in, that's gonna keep animals out, that's gonna keep bugs out and stuff. So it's practical, it makes sense, and they should have one. But whether or not it's a law, I can tell you for sure.
But, could you guys contact you, you can let me know that information?
You would actually have to talk to the police or law.
I can find out for you, you can reach out to me.
You're in trouble.
And there was a question, sir,
Well, you didn't respond regarding labels.
labels.
If they're
Labels
put on,
can stay
or
on.
just can be ripped off easily, or doesn't matter.
Labels can stay on. There are some plastic bottles that have, and I don't have an example of it, they have some where it's kind of a shrink wrap, different kind of plastic on it. There are some companies that don't take those, but the one that we're using right now says that they're fine, they can go in, you don't have to worry about it. So all your labels are fine.
Like your tin can that has the label there,
That's-
and you rinse it out and the label gets wet, it's
Because
still
this
okay?
is food, for- yeah, because it'll be okay by the time they take it, so it's okay. And yeah, this is from, my dog.
food from my dumpster?
So.
I have a question.
So, fed the dog, check it out, yes, sir.
Duplexes get 2 black and 2 blue, 1 per unit?
Yes.
So a triplex can get 3 black, 3 blue if there's 3 units, okay.
Quads get 4, and the city only goes up to units of 4.
Correct, okay. That was my only question.
Now, are they gonna hire more garbage men when they start this recycling? Because right now, like, just seeing our garbage man got hurt, that's one less we're gonna have. And we only get 2 now, and we live on a dead end,
Yeah.
and they have to pull them across the street and everything,
Well, I know.
so that the
I don't, well,
So I know
so,
for a fact there'll be some more people hired over the summer, but recycling, and the reason you have those carts you have, they're done with those trucks with one on. So they get picked up automatically, so you don't need extra people to do those.
yeah, will the blue bins be picked up by the same trucks that go down the street now? Or will they be picked up by a separate truck that goes down afterwards?
Yes.
Same kind of truck, separate one. So
Okay.
what you're gonna have, and right now, this is why you have the stickers and why it's important, you have the stickers on your bin. Right now, early on in this program, you have this mix of people that are in the program and people that are not in the program. Now, some of those people that are not in the program are trying to put their blue bins out because they always put the blue bins out.
Right.
And they need to get the word, so it's slowly getting them. So people that have the white stickers, these stickers on the sides of their blue bin, they're gonna get picked up with the recycling truck. That stuff's all gonna be recycled. Ones that don't have that sticker on them, if they put out that blue bin, it's gonna get picked up with the black bins like you see now, and that's going in the trash. Now, the reason for that is that everybody that has a blue bin has a couple of things that we've sent you to say, hey, here's how it works, please do it this way. These other people haven't acknowledged that this is how we're gonna do it, so there's no telling they're gonna do it the right way. So what we wanna do is we wanna make sure we do this well, since it's been 2 years that we've been waiting to try to get this again. So people that aren't in the program won't be recycled.
Who all got their stickers already? I got mine. You guys got yours? Yeah.
In the back, in the back, you'll have that little book right.
I didn't.
I had one question on this other, this one sticker that looks like it doesn't fit on a very narrow part of the lid, and it's a full size.
Actually, it's on the top.
Right on top.
On the top.
Right on top.
So,
Where you lift the lid up.
so ignore the diagram and put it on the top.
The diagram is a little bit misleading.
The diagram, you know, it's showing you flat saying, oh, it goes up
So
here,
when you
it
lift
goes
the
up
lid
here.
up, it goes up to that top when you push down.
Yeah,
So that doesn't go on the side like this show.
No,
It goes on.
Yeah, basically.
And I think what they're trying to show there is like,
Yeah,
you
it's
have
all
this
misleading.
lid that's this wide, but they're showing you this view of it, saying, well, up on the top. There's this little
It just
thing.
goes smack on the top, right on the top.
Is that the red sticker?
Yeah, it doesn't look.
Well, I apologize.
I think it's.
So what if you didn't get a packet? Should I
If you didn't
write?
get a packet, then let me know. Oh, you signed
Did
up?
you opt in yet?
Yeah.
You did? Okay, so, what we doing? All that stuff's going in the mail right now. Last week and early this week, they're all in the mail, so if you don't have anything by next week, call 311, tell them you signed up, and you can get your packet. So I have a list going of the people that did have an issue like that, and I am gonna send stuff out to them next week, once we know all this stuff is gonna send out. So if that's the case, call 311, we will get it out to you. We'll make that happen. You can put them on now if you want. People were asking me last week when it was raining, I was like, wait till a nice day. Right? But if the
Well, thank you
weather's
for
nice, you
blessing
can
us
do it.
with this one.
It's beautiful, isn't it? It's a beautiful day, nice and warm. Almost too warm, all of a sudden.
So at the end of the day, recycling doesn't affect the volume of trash, right? People are still pretty much going through the same amount of stuff, but recycling affects how we remove it. So right now, one truck is coming down the street taking everything.
Right.
And starting in July, I think you said, that truck's gonna be able to go, June?
Don't make it July, June.
June. That truck is gonna be able to go further because it's skipping the blue bins before it runs down to Ridge Road and dumps and then comes. And so the same volume, to answer your question about labor, the same volume of trash is being picked up then as before. So I don't think that we're gonna have a labor problem where we don't have enough people to pick up the trash. I think I don't think there'll be a labor issue.
There'll be a second truck that has to come down, but it's a one-man truck.
Yeah,
And generally, exactly, and generally in the summertime, we do hire more people because people do make more trash in the summertime because they're out there doing more and all that. They're outside, they're playing, they're doing
it's
stuff.
that
Usually
beer.
great.
Except for December 28th.
You know,
the trash
just 2 times we got, you know. That's it.
So when is the next opt-in window? It's not.
Right now.
I mean, I read it, but just in case a neighbor asks and wants.
It closes
It's happening right now. We started it last week, Monday, on the 2nd. There are 2,000 people signed up, new people, since last Monday. And we are gonna leave that open until July 31st.
And then what?
Then what? July 31st is
Next
done.
June.
People can't opt in again for a minute.
The gates of
We gotta
heaven
figure out when
close and you're in.
You're gonna
bring
I was gonna say,
all-
yeah, I wondered about that.
I just called it instead of red. That's recycling.
So I don't know, I think annual might be too big of a window if we're gonna do that, but we're gonna see how many people sign up
We didn't
during
see
this
anything.
3-month period over the summer here, and then we'll determine how we go forward from there. So people that sign up this month, they'll get that package that a lot of you have done, they'll get it next month. People that sign up next month, they'll get it in July, they'll get it in August, and in the fall, that's when we're gonna pick up the ones from the people that didn't sign up. All right, and then we'll figure out from there, how do we proceed on this? Do we keep doing it as an opt-in? Did we get 90% of the city, and should we just say, okay, we're recycling now? You know, do it that way. So, and after this opt-in closes and we pick up those other bins, then these stickers right here won't even be necessary. Because that's why we have these two on there, so that when that truck's coming up and down the street, they see this on the side of your bin, they see this as they're approaching you, and they go, yeah, that one's in, right? And the ones that are just plain blue without that white sticker won't be picked up by the recycling truck.
So if you don't put your sticker out, you're gonna lose your blue bin.
Yes, if you have any issue with
That's
the sticker,
important.
call us, let us
Get your
know.
sticker on it.
I like a sticker.
That,
I didn't get a package.
you did sign up though, right? So what was
I
that?
signed in, I don't know if I signed up on it.
You signed up online for the recycling
Online for the
program.
recycling, did you sign up for
On
the
the
recycling?
computer.
No, I didn't know anything about it till this morning.
It's open right now. So the way you do that, and I just, we have two ways that you can sign up for the recycling program. The easiest and best one, I think, is to go online at CLE Recycles. Okay, and I think
I'm doing this to do what?
to recycle. To get your blue bin
Well,
recycled.
say I already recycled, so I'm talking to my sister right now, she already recycled, but I don't
But-
think she's familiar with, they take her can away from her.
If she's not in the program, she won't continue to do that.
That's what I'm trying to say, so what do I tell her?
All right, CLErecycles.com. That's the website.
See?
Did you get this one? It's right on the, it's right there. Come on up. Right there.
Okay, thank you very much.
It's on the
I'm
very
gonna give
front.
this to her.
It's on the front page right here.
I have a
And
question.
what's gonna happen is the whole city, next week, we're gonna send out a postcard to the whole city. If you guys remember in October or so, there was a postcard that came out that said, recycling's here, you have to opt in, here's how you can do it. So that just that's being printed, the last part of those right now. So starting the end of this week or Monday, they will get into the mail. So everybody in the city, even the people that are already opted in, are gonna get one of this, right? Because it's hard to pull everybody out. So the whole city's gonna get it, and it says on there, if you've already done this, you don't have to do it again. If you haven't, please do, here's how. So everybody's gonna get that information about how to sign up for the program. And we'll be out there talking about it as much as I'll be out there talking about it as much as I can. Any other questions?
I have a question.
Yes,
In other counties, like, my parents live in Lorraine County, they offer incentives for recycling. Are you ever gonna do that, where you get gift cards and incentives?
Right now, that's not in the plan, but I think, you know, if at some point, I think it would probably be kind of good to give someone some sort of incentive for doing it well. You know, and I don't know if that comes from, does that come from, I don't know, let's think about exactly the words on that. I don't know exactly how, and what would even be on, but that's a good idea. I don't have that power, you think I have a lot of power. You gotta talk to this man about that, that's not me.
Yeah.
It's a good incentive you get to keep your cans. I think a lot of people are just dumping their garbage in it right now and using it as two garbage cans.
Well, see, and that's the issue, but I think that, you know, for all that stuff they have in those two cans, if they took all that stuff and put it in the right one, it would still be the same volume of stuff, and they would be okay.
Yeah.
That's the big thing, they would be okay with those two cans, but they'd have to redistribute how they put stuff.
I mean,
Which I hope we can teach people.
and if you want the gold star for being a good citizen here and on Earth, reduce your waste, right? Yeah, and the only way to reduce your waste is to reduce what comes into your house in the first place, right? So that becomes a lifestyle issue.
That's the next step.
That's the next step, right? So this gets into sort of the sustainable like thought processes, you know, about what we purchase and you know how we live our lives in a less consumption mentality, and that's a whole other subject that we're not going to get into, but that is the big step is how do we reduce our consumption.
And then you get to the whole idea of circularity too, which is another concept a lot of people don't think about. When they talk about a thing called circular economy, basically what you're talking about there is thinking about, it's like when you do business and say begin with the end in mind. So you kind of go from there. So when you buy stuff, is this something that is reusable? Is it durable? Can it be donated or given away at the end of its life? Can it be recycled at the end of its life? Do I need it?
Is it something you can get at the the thrift store already? You know, because I love the thrift store. That place is great. I never feel guilty about anything I get there.
I'm sorry, I was just thinking of the people that right now, since they've not been recycling, and they've been thinking, hey, I've got two garbage cans.
Yeah.
And they're gonna be surprised at some point if they're not looped in. That for me is incentive enough to have my second key.
Yeah,
That's why we wanna make sure we touch everyone or let everyone know, and that's why we extended this new opt-in period for the whole summer, for 3 months, so we can tell everybody. So people aren't shocked, people aren't just like, hey, what are you doing, what are you taking from me? Yes, sir.
So out of curiosity, so those cans that don't have the stickers on them, people then continue to put out, so what's gonna happen with those? Are those gonna be picked up by
They'll
the
get
trash?
empty, they're gonna empty into the trash bag.
they're going to be collected and taken away.
So
So that's why your sticker needs to go on. No, they're going to take the can. A truck will go down the street one day and grab them. They will not have that. They will only have a black
Why are they doing that?
If people don't want to recycle, then they don't need to recycle bin. So if the people that don't wanna recycle, that say, yeah, whatever, I don't care about the rule, they're not gonna put the right thing in. So then what we're gonna do is we're gonna give them all this time and say, this is how this is gonna work, we want you to do this, and we can tell you what we need you to do. And if they don't wanna do that, then they're not gonna have that can, because then they're just contaminated.
But people are not acting right now, so you don't want to continue.
Property owners for the opting in.
What about that?
Are you charging, is that got any record?
There's no fee on things to recycle, right? So if you have a City of Cleveland trash can, if City of Cleveland handles your trash, you have a $8.75 fee that's on your water bill right now. That $8.75 fee is for all waste management that the city does for your home, right? It's for all waste management the city does at your home, which includes recycling. So if you're not recycling, well, you're not getting the most out of your money that you're gonna spend, because there's no discount for not recycling. There's no extra charge for recycling. So we might as well recycle, because then we're doing good things.
I got a loaded question. So back in the day, when you got billed once every 3 months, you had an $8 fee on your water bill. And they started billing you every month. Now you got an $8 fee every month on your water bill.
Inflation.
I've been in the government since October, so.
I've been here since January.
Oh, okay.
Alright, so I mean, so his man's got expertise on.
So now we pay 3 times as much.
Right.
That's higher up than me.
All I can tell you about that is that there was a lot of deferred maintenance in our in our sewer systems, and there was a consent decree against the sewer district 20 or 30 years ago that people just sat on and didn't deal with, and then they finally had to build all these the big digs, right? The big overflow, one on Euclid, one in Euclid, one down. That's one of the reasons why they had to jack up rates.
But see, that's one of the other things that irritates me. For what, 50, 60 years, part of our sewer bill went to maintenance.
Yeah.
They never maintained it. They spent the money elsewhere.
Wow.
But now they have to maintain it. They're like, well, we need to jack up your bills to cover that.
Well, there was a time when Cleveland ran its own sewer department, and the government made that go away because it was so poorly run. That's why we have the Northeast Ohio Regional Sewer District, right? From the 70s or 80s. So.
But that's another meeting.
Within our lifetimes, but predating both of us. So.
Yeah, that was loaded, so I don't know.
I'll get Chris on the next meeting for that.
It's bigger than me. Yes, sir.
I guess you didn't provide at the beginning, I'm just curious what your background is, where you
I
coming
guess
from?
I didn't, did I? All right, so again, my name is Ren Brumfield. I'm the recycling coordinator for the city. Before I worked for the city, I was with Metro Health as their waste program coordinator, waste management coordinator, let me get it right, for 2.5 years. And before that, I was at University Hospitals for about 8 years as their waste program coordinator. So with that, it was handling all the different waste streams that are in hospitals, which are a whole lot more than this, which, it's kind of interesting, so that's what I did for the last 10 years or so, and now I'm here. And it's good. I like it, Let's talk about recycling. You were saying?
I just said, welcome aboard.
Oh, well, thank you. Yes, ma'am.
I saw you have that yogurt containers.
Yes.
All yogurt containers are just ones that have a lid.
They don't have to have the lid on, like, you're talking about the ones where you peel the lid off?
Yeah.
You can't put in the peel part, the part that you peel off the
The
plastic.
bottom part is okay.
This part's fine,
Okay.
this part's fine. And you see that, this type of plastic, just by the little numbers and all, this type didn't used to be accepted. Like a long time ago, they used to tell you, 1 through 7, everybody's trying to see the little numbers and all that, right? So it's part of that, the ones that weren't accepted for a little while, because people were just taking, this and this for a very long time. So now it's been expanded to where there's other kind of plastics we could do, but I don't want to tell you, look at that 1 through 7, don't even worry about numbers, right? So it's these plastic cups, plastic tubs, plastic bottles and jugs.
How about those K-cups if they don't have the lid on them?
Well, K-cups are kind of difficult because of their size and because they're mixed, right? You got the foil or paper lid, the coffee inside, the cup itself. So those right now, no.
Is there any place to take your shopping bags, by the way?
Yeah, most grocery stores, and if you look at it, more than grocery
I
stores.
got a ton of them.
If you go to Target, if you go to Home Depot, Best Buy, right along to the doors, if you look to the sides, you'll see they have those things. There's some for CDs, some for batteries, some for wires, some for plastic bags. Notice that that's Giant Eagle, Dave's, all these different, Dave's, all these different places.
Right
They-
above the Memphis, they got that adult daycare next to the gas station.
Oh, yeah?
They always need those.
Oh, really? Oh, okay, that's good, because I don't have a cat anymore, so I don't need
My
that.
chickens, yeah, I have 2 cats, that's what we use
Yeah,
ours.
exactly.
But with those plastic bags, the reason they can't recycle with everything else, it has to do with that whole separation and all that. They'll get all caught up in everything. So if you take it to some of these places that have a bin of just the plastic bags, they give it to a processor that only does that. So they're not doing the separation, they're not doing all the other stuff that causes problems. And that's how those get recycled. They not
Why can't those bags be recycled?
because they tangle up in the machinery and all that. All the machinery that separates all your mixed recyclables won't recognize those. They get tangled up, they fly around like they say. There's always summer issues.
Cardboard boxes, can you just throw them in, or you have to rip them up and fold them or?
It's better to flatten them because if you put in a big cardboard box and it's gonna take up so much
Like a
space.
shoebox?
It'd be nice if you would. It would make it easier for you to get more things in. If you don't flatten it, we're not gonna beat you up, but you're probably gonna only be able to get 2, 3 things in there, that's all. That's the biggest part.
Back to recycling, considering solid waste, what could be recycled? Can you comment on leaf collection?
Leaf collection, now that was one that is in streets.
So, do you know if we live in a high generation, neighborhood on High Generation Street?
What street are you on?
They generally come down your
Are
street.
you on
No,
Shaft?
So,
I'm a Portland.
alright, so there's parts of the city that's considered high generation when it comes to for leaf collection. The month of November to around the 1st of January, what will happen is you'll see signs posted, letting you know that you can put leaves out on your tree line. And what will happen is we'll have a leaf bag to pick them up. If you're not in that part of the city, then what you can do is you can bag up to 20, you can put out 20 bags of leaves and we'll pick them up. The reason why we cannot pick up leaves in the entire city is because you have, it's weather dependent. What will happen is we won't be able to deploy and get the entire city done before it starts snowing. So we have to concentrate on certain parts of the city where the most generation is likely to occur because of tree canopy.
You are, I know that block, you're
I know last year, like part of the running joke was they would come and put the signs up, but then nobody would show up.
No, we put them up a week before.
I know, everybody would break their stuff up, then nobody would show up.
But also it takes time, so what happens is like, whether like.
I mean, like, I just cleaned up curbs the other day, like 2 doors down, because they never picked them up and they got mad down with snow and they ran over my cars and.
So what happens is, weather, like when we got early snow last year. So for example, it's gonna delay you for a week. So for example, put the signs that we're gonna collect in the street this week. And so we generally put them out 2 weeks ahead. But if it snows, then you're automatically behind.
Then you guys get so far behind, you just kind of.
You can't pick it up.
There's, I think all the trucks hit all the streets they were scheduled to hit last year. It's possible that wind blows leaves away if somebody does pile them up and the wind can come through and remove some of those leaves. Okay.
Yeah, but they very rarely miss a street they close.
It's also possible they can go down the street and then the next day somebody pulls their leaves out.
Yes. That happens often.
Not
They
knowing
try to
what they
make
were-
it back, they try to make it back, but you don't want the leaves. The whole purpose of the leaf collection is not really, it's not a landscaping service. It's really for the stormwater, so they'll block the catch basins in the winter. So that's the whole purpose.
I never thought of it that way.
Yes.
I thought it was just a nice little service
No,
because
And you
of
see
some
the
of
crazy guy out there with a shovel, shoveling trench full of leaf.
Yeah, it's just, it's a stormwater management, service, not really a landscaping service.
Any other questions about recycling? It's 7 o'clock now. I know from many years of experience that all meetings turn into a pumpkin at the 1.5 hour mark, so we're getting close to it. Anybody have any questions about recycling? If not, then I'm happy to hang out for another half hour and talk about whatever else is on your mind.
So how small a plastic thing is?
2 inches really is the general limit. So if it's smaller than the size of a business card, then that's, this is about what will fit through, what will make it through the process. If it's smaller than this, it's just gonna fall through straight as trash. So, even though this is recyclable, if you have this is not recyclable. This is, because this is it's just gonna end up being trash.
Will you walk into the tablet before you?
Absolutely.
She called me and said, will there be a way to sign up? I don't have a computer. I said, yes! And
Look at that.
I would hate to not be honest, so.
We'll make it happen.
All right. Cool, thank you, appreciate it.
Thank you.